That was very good. That was very good. It was good. It was impressive. It was refreshing. It was a sigh of relief. You could take a deep breath, and we'll talk about why it was all that in episode 673 of BD4 here. Let's get to it. Welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, RJ Carbone. You are listening to BD4, where there's no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. We also do MMA. Yanks every series, Knicks every game, MMA on occasion. Let's get to it.
Anthony for three. Bang! That one goes down, and the game is tied.
I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody.
The Yankees are champions of baseball. Shaking and baking right here on the neophyte.
Trying to close the show.
She was doing a great job of feeding.
That is
It's over. Don't you regret not coming to the Knicks? Don't you regret not coming to the Knicks? Game over. World Series over. Yankees win. The Yankees win.
Man, I tell you one thing. It's going to be hard to contain my excitement just because I had double euphoria today with like watching. God, I need to get my hair cut. You know what? Maybe I'll get my hair cut tomorrow. Watching the Knicks at the same time as watching the Yankees go off for 30 runs in 2 games. Watching the Knicks today, I mean, it was nuts. And we're going to get to the Knicks in episode 674, but we have not yet recorded that. We're recording 673 at the moment. Welcome to episode 673. The Yanks break out. They erupt in Milwaukee, and they complete the series win 2 out of 3. Awesome. We're going to get to it all real quick before we begin some in-house stuff. John Birdie has started or is starting. I can't remember. I think he started a rehab assignment, so he's working his way back. That's going to be good for the bench. He's a solid player. Hasn't gotten a chance to do much yet here, but the bench is very thin. We can't keep running out fucking Jahmai Jones and Trammell in these games. Late in games. Late in games. Tommy Kahnle had, I think he threw a 15-pitch live BP session, simulated game. So take what you want from that. Take what you want from Nick Birdie resuming catch again. All these things don't do much for me. The only things I care about are when are you starting your rehab assignment. DJ LeMahieu, obviously, that whole thing has been, unfortunate, but not shocking. He is now to be reevaluated basically in a week, so he's not doing anything now after being taken out from his rehab assignment that he was initially, that initially was pushed back to begin with. Garrett Cole, played catch again on the 27th yesterday, so. And Dominguez, this is a cool one though. Started throwing from 130 feet, so he is a few weeks away from a rehab assignment, so that's good. That's going to be fun, man. He's going to be such an upgrade to this team. Like, he is young, and he's got so much talent, and I am very high on him. I've been saying, of their young core prospects, Dominguez, Volpe, Jones, I'm still the highest on Jason Dominguez. I think this guy's got unreal potential. I don't, when he gets back, when he's ready, I get the sense they're probably going to send him to AAA for a little bit to get his feet wet again. Because remember, he only spent just a couple of, he had a cup of coffee there before the Yankees brought him up late in the year. But it'll be interesting to see when he eventually does get the MLB promotion, and he eventually will, what they're going to do. At that point, obviously things can happen, injuries can happen, but is that the reason for the Verdugo trade? Just to get a stopgap until Jason's here, and then you find a team who wants to take on a rental contract trying to win it. So we'll see what happens there. Do they do some kind of rotation if everybody is healthy and you don't want to part with an Alex Verdugo? Maybe. You could see days where Judge sits or Soto sits, or some of them get DH days and Stanton sits. And obviously Dominguez, I'm sure they're going to take it easy with him. They'll DH him some. So I've been thinking about that. But that's all in terms of injury stuff. Let's get into these games. Let's break this shit down. Let's get to these games. The 3-game series here that the Yankees took 2 out of 3. And we'll do that as soon as we return from our first break here on the podcast, episode 673 of BD4. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hey there. Thanks for listening in so far. If you enjoy this episode, please give us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts. And if you're on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks so much.
Okay, welcome back to the show, episode 673 of the podcast. Welcome to BD4, where there's no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. We also do MMA. Yanks every series, Knicks every game, MMA on occasion. Yes, game 1 of this series. Let's talk about it. This was a loss. This was the very frustrating loss. 7-6 loss in 11 innings. You had the righty Luis Gil going up against the righty Colin Rea. Top of the first inning. The Juan Soto solo home run the other way. Guy's super impressive. It's 1-0 Yankees. Top second, Alex Verdugo. In his signature way, pulls the shit out of a homer. Goes down to one knee. I love that swing. He homers to the pull side, solo bomb, 2-0. Bottom of the second comes. You get Ortiz taking care of a hanging slider by Luis Gil. It's 2-2. 2-run home run. Bottom 4, another home run, another 2-run home run. This one by Perkins makes it 4-2 Brewers. Top 4, the Yanks answer back when Trent Grisham picks up his first Yankee hit, and it being a 3-run blast to put them up 5-4. So you got all bombs so far in this game. Bottom 6, though, Ortiz, sac fly off of Ron Marinaccio. The run scores. That run goes on Luis Gil's line. It was the inherited run that scored. And it's a tie game at 5. No score. And then we get to extras. Top of the 10th, Giancarlo Stanton, a pinch hit RBI double off of Koenig. Stanton, not usually a great pinch hitter, but he picks up the double, run scores, the Manfred runner scores, 6-5 Yankees. We'll talk about that stuff. A lot of things we have to talk about that happened in this game. But bottom 10, Willie Adames, the RBI single off Tonkin, 6-6. Bottom 11, that's when Ortiz walks it off with the base hit off of Tonkin, 7-6. Now, this was a game that, at the moment, had many of us pissed off. I was about to do a pre-recording that same night and just put it in this episode. If I had done one, I probably would have deleted it by now because they won the series and it's less of a problem, but it still warrants a conversation because there were a couple things, a couple of decisions from this game that Aaron Boone made or did not make that really infuriated the shit out of me at the time. Now, one that was floating around after the 6th inning, should the Yankees have sent Luis Gil back out for the extra inning? He wasn't pitching well as it was, ended up giving up that run. That was an important run. Yeah, that was annoying. I wasn't exactly mad at that. I'm all for go as long as you can into a game, squeeze every out of your starter that you can. I know he wasn't pitching good, But I didn't start getting pissed off at Aaron Boone until the 10th inning, until extra innings rolled around. Starting at the top of the 10th, Giancarlo Stanton rips that double. Okay, good. They took care of the they brought in the Manfred runner. And now on second base, pinch running for Giancarlo, you have this guy Trammell. You had speed on second base. And you had Volpe at the plate. There was nobody out. So the leading runs on second with no outs, and your leadoff bat is at the plate. The goal right there, for any team that has an idea of fundamentals, the goal is to get Trammell to third base. Because with Soto coming up and Judge following, you've got two great chances to bring in a run, even if you record an out. Volpe was over heading into this at-bat. He wasn't having a great night. You have to bunt. You absolutely needed to bunt. And there was no bunts called. And Anthony Volpe put up one of the worst at-bats of his season in what was a 4-pitch strikeout. Uncompetitive. And it ended up losing the game for the Yankees. The Yankees are the worst team in extra innings on the road since the Manfred rule with the runner on second. And they're the best team in extra innings at home since the Manfred rule. Bunt. Not an old man. Don't like to bunt as much as some other people do, but that's a situation where you have to bunt. Anthony Volpe's got speed. He's your leadoff hitter. That was it was clear as day. They don't bunt. The extra run does not come across. And they go into the bottom of the 10th inning tied. And now, you're thinking, all right, well, we have some options here. Clay Holmes just pitched the 1-2-3 ninth inning. He only needed 10 pitches. He struck out 2 batters. He looked dominant. This is a guy who's looked really good lately, and he's got a 0.00 ERA on the season, which is good, by the way. This motherfucker decides to try and steal outs with some random, just off the scrap heap reliever who has been DFA'd already, 3 times on the year? And it's probably going to be 4 in a couple of days? That's who he goes with. Yankees fans don't even know who this guy is. I don't even know who he is. Half of the fan base, probably 90% of the fan base, didn't even know who his name was, didn't even know he was on the roster until I saw him trotting in with his little blonde mustache in the 10th inning from the bullpen. I could not believe what I saw. That he's going to go with this brand new journeyman who's got zero chemistry with Trevino. I mean, the first pitch he threw to him was a wild pitch fastball. Never worked with him before. But yeah, let me throw you in the most clutch, high leverage situation possible. And, tell you to get out of it. It's a disgrace. It's an insult to the kid. I almost felt bad for the kid. Why are you doing this to the kid? Now, they asked Boone after the game, why are you not going to Holmes there for 2? He's on pace for 80 appearances. He didn't want to overuse him. Appearances? He's already appeared in the game. He could throw another inning. It's the same appearance. I don't know. I don't know what 1 inning does. You couldn't go Ian Hamilton. Now, after the game, he said as well that Ian Hamilton was sore. Okay, Luke Weaver. He threw 30 pitches on Wednesday. Gonzalez. Use Gonzalez. Use Gonzalez in the 9th inning so Holmes can get the 10th. Or if you knew this, if you knew you weren't going to go to Holmes because you're trying not to overuse him, if you knew you weren't going to go to Ian Hamilton, if you knew you weren't going to go to Weaver because he threw a bunch of pitches Wednesday, then plan on that. Then why are you so short on Dennis Santana in the 6th inning? On Ferguson? Go longer with those guys. But you had to go with Michael Tonkin in the 10th inning there, and then to send him back out in the 11th inning was fucking nuts. And it's that same mentality that concerns me. That same, like, it's still there, unfortunately. The same, we'll be okay because we know we're going to make the playoffs. It's okay. We can afford to try and steal outs. Like, you're in the middle of a stretch where you're going to have Baltimore and Milwaukee now for 7 games at that moment. That bothered me. So I was all for going to Holmes there. And then there were options even if you didn't want to go to Holmes. And then the top of the 11th comes. The top of the 11th comes. And the Yankees, there's one out. Verdugo hits a ground ball. The ball goes right back to the pitcher. Right back, right in front of the pitcher. And you had Jones on third base going on contact again. What the fuck? I mean, you talk about lacking fundamentals. Since the beginning of the Aaron Boone era, this team has lacked in fundamentals. On the bases, in the field, they've lacked in that area. The Yankees just continuing to go on contact, no matter what, it's mind-boggling. Like, there's no making reads. There's no awareness. There's no baseball decision-making. It's just go. It's like you have auto base running on MLB The Show. I used to put that on all the time because I hated base running. I never got it down. Going on contact, easy out, wasn't even close. And that was it. Because Tonkin goes back out there and he gives it up. But it was just frustrating because you're in extras and you got these guys out there who should never be out there in an extra inning game. You should never see this guy Jones out there. You should never see a guy Trammell. You should never see Tonkin. Now, those guys shouldn't be their bench options, their relief options. Like, get a real bench and go to your best arms. So it frustrated the shit out of me. Offensively, they hit. It was the start of a good series. 6 runs on 6 hits, 6 walks, 8 strikeouts. They grounded into 1 double play. They hit 2 for 9 with runners in scoring position. Against Rhea, they hit him. 5 runs across 6. And then against the Brewer bullpen, couldn't get to them. Just 1 run in 5 innings. But Soto went 2 for 4, homered, drew a walk, RBI. Verdugo, 1 for 4, home run, walk, RBI. Oswaldo Cabrera, 1 for 4, walk. Grisham, 1 for 2, homer, walk, 3 RBIs. Stanton, 1 for 1, double, RBI there in the pinch hit appearance. Everybody else was over. As good of an offensive game they had, they did have some moments in this game that drove you nuts, where they stranded some villages. Third inning, they had first and second, 1 out. Judge strikes out. Rizzo flies out. 8th inning, Soto base hit. Judge hits into the double play. 9th inning, Verdugo walks, but he's caught stealing. Then Cabrera walks, but Trevino grounds out. And then you had, again, the 10th and 11th innings. But it was a good offensive night overall. It wasn't a good night for Luis Gil. Was it his last time? Yeah, it was his last time out against the Rays, where he pitched very well. But in this game, no. 5+, 5 runs, 6 hits, couple walks, 6 strikeouts, 2 home runs allowed, 97 pitches, got the no decision. He was very bad. Now the walks are usually an issue for him. And I say this, only 2 this time. He was throwing strikes. He wasn't egregious with the walks. It was the home runs. The home run ball was the issue. It was mislocation on his pitches. He left a slider up to Ortiz. That was punished. And then his fastball actually got hit by Perkins. Wasn't good. You could see it's, I'm noticing a trend in his body language. That's been a thing this year. Kind of noticed it. Got a little loud during the game where Angel Hernandez was behind the plate. But there was a shot on Yes Network where Luis Gil's in the dugout, his inherited runners on third base Marinaccio lets up the run, and it pans to Luis Hill, and he's visibly annoyed by it. Young kid, going to have to work on that. But, overall, Luis Hill's been good for the Yankees so far this season. You just wish he could go a little deeper into games. But, being the new arm after Garrett Cole went down, he's done more than enough. And then the bullpen, 5 1/3, 2 runs. Marinaccio, and again, an inning and a third for him. Lets the inherited run score, blows the save. Santana, 2/3 in the 7th inning. No runs. Ferguson, a scoreless 8th. Holmes, a scoreless 9th. Tonkin, inning and a third in the 10th and 11th. 2 runs, 2 hits. And that was game 1 of the series where, again, the Yankees lost in extras 7-6. Let's get to game 2, where it gets more fun. Game 2, the Yankees win 15-3. Carlos Rodon, the left-hander, going up against the righty Joe Ross. Top of the first inning, Verdugo, another home run, a 3-run shot, makes it 3-0 Yankees. Bottom 1, Rhys Hoskins. Can't sneak anything by that guy. He's got pop, man. Solo shot, 3-1. Top 3, it's when Gleyber Torres, 3-run double to right center field. 6-1 Yankees. Top 5, Oswaldo Cabrera, RBI single. It's 7-1, so they're starting to break out. Top 6 is really when they put the game away. The bullpen's in the game at this point. Vieira, Judge hits a 2-run bomb off him off of a slider, low and away. Then you get the Rizzo 2-run home run. It's 11-1. Top 9 position players coming to the game for Milwaukee. I forget who they threw in there, but Verdugo gets the sac fly. Stanton hits a 3-run bomb. It's 15-1. 9th inning, Trevino's pitching for the Yankees. That was, I can't stand when position players pitch. Just use your low leverage, guys. It's like gimmicky. It's annoying. But Milwaukee scores 2, and the Yankees win 15-3. 15 runs on 19 hits, 6 extra base hits, 6 walks, 7 strikeouts, a double play hit into, and they were 6 for 14 in scoring position. They did a nice job on Joe Ross, 7 runs on him in 5 innings. And then against the Milwaukee bullpen, 8 runs in 4 innings. So Verdugo was 3 for 5, homered, sac fly, 4 RBIs. Rizzo, 3 for 4, home run, 2 RBIs. Gleyber, 3 for 6, double, 3 RBIs. Judge, 2 for 4, home run, walk, 2 RBIs. Did hit into a double play. Stanton, 2 for 5, homer, walk, 3 RBIs. Wells, 2 for 5, a double, a walk. Soto, 1 for 3, couple of walks. Oswaldo Cabrera, 1 for 5, RBI. Volpe, 0 for 4, a walk, hit by pitch. That was your offense. Carlos Rodon, we'll talk about him a little bit later. The bullpen was Luke Weaver for 2, no runs, and then Trevino. And that was game 3. No, that was game 2. Let's talk about game 3. Game 3, it was definitely not 7-3. Let me fix that. It was 15-5. If you're watching the YouTube edit. Sorry. Here we go. 15-5, game 3. Veteran right-hander Marcus Stroman going up against the righty Tobias Myers. This was a game where I wasn't paying too much attention to. I was watching the Knicks game, and I had this Yankees game on my phone. And a lot of the time it was muted. But I caught enough. Top of the first, Aaron Judge, solo home run, 1-0. Top 5, Volpe, 3-run blast, 4-0. Bottom 5, Milwaukee ties it up off of Stroman. Adames, the RBI double. Bowers, former Yankee, who I once talked myself into because it got so bad. 3-run home run. And it's 4-4. Top 6, Gleyber, the RBI base hit off Uribe. Trevino, the 2-run double, or 2-run single. Uribe's pulled. And then Oswaldo scores on a wild pitch from Peguero. Soto RBI single. Judge 2-run single. It's 11-4 Yankees, or 11-5. I don't remember. 11 something. They have 11 runs. Top 7 comes. Junk is in the game. That's a name. Oswaldo RBI base hit. Trevino sac fly. It's 13-5. Top 8. Rizzo hits his 300th home run. 15-5. Yankees win. 15 runs in this game on 18 hits, 6 extra base hits, 6 walks, 5 strikeouts, 1 double play hit into, and the Yankees were 7 for 18 with runners in scoring position. Against Myers, 4 runs in 5 innings, and against the Milwaukee bullpen, 11 runs in 4 frigging innings. Rizzo, 4 for 4, 2 doubles, a home run, a walk, 2 RBIs. Judge, 3 for 4, home run, walk, 3 RBIs. Had that slide that was, I guess, a little controversial. I don't know. Again, I didn't see it really because I was watching the Knick game, but he slides like that all the time. His hand was up, whatever. Volpe, 2 for 4. The umps after the game, admitted that it was, I don't know, not legal or whatever. I didn't really pay attention to that, so whatever, they won. Volpe, 2 for 4. Homer, couple walks, 3 RBIs. Glaber, 2 for 5. Double RBI. Oswaldo, 2 for 4 RBI. Walked. Trevino, 2 for 4, 3 RBIs. Marcus Stroman in this game, 4 innings, 4 runs, 6 hits, 5 walks, a hit batter. He was not good. Only 4 strikeouts, a home run, 88 pitches thrown. Got the no decision. Yeah, he was bad. He was very bad in that 5th inning. It's been shaky. He's been off his game lately, but it's going to happen. I don't have much to add. Again, I didn't pay enough attention to really give a detailed analysis on Marcus Stroman's outing, but he'll be fun. The bullpen, 5 innings, 1 run combined. Marinaccio was the lone Yankee who allowed a run. Got an inning and a third, allowed 1 run off of a hit and a walk. And then Hamilton, Tonkin, Ferguson, and Gonzalez combined to throw scoreless 6th through 9th innings. And that's your series right there. The Yankees take 2 out of 3. They drop 36 runs, 30 of them coming in the final 2 games. Let's talk more about this series when we return from our second break here on BD4.
You can follow us on social media as well. On Instagram, we're at BD4Pod and at Rob J. Carbone. On X, we're at BD4Pod and at RJCBD4. And on Facebook, we're BD4.
Welcome back to the show. You're listening to episode 673 of BD4. Sorry, I'm reading something here. I am your host, RJ Carbone. And it was so nice and refreshing to see this offense break out, man. They have had a go this year. It's just been very inconsistent. So to see them do what they did and to see them drop, again, 36 runs. So that's, an average of 13 runs per game? 12 runs per game, something like that? 12 runs per game this series. They did it hitting .344, a batting average of .344 this series, a batting average of .366 with runners in scoring position. They drew 18 walks. The Yankees did. They hit 10 home runs. That was good. Seeing the Yankees bring back power because they've been lacking power. 10 home runs. It was nice to see the offense break out. And, as inconsistent as they've been with this breakout series, they've now gotten themselves from, middle of the pack in a lot of offensive categories to top 5, borderline top 5. Like we're talking runs scored, OPS, home runs. They're like now above among the top teams in baseball, not just the American League. So that's very good to see. Obviously, it's, very, what's the word? I don't know, it's based off these 2 games. A lot of it is heavily influenced by these 2 games, but this lineup is it's a good reminder to the pessimists on the lineup that this lineup should be hitting. It's not like, oh yeah, no, we expected it to suck. No, this is a lineup that is going to hit. It's a lineup that has names. They're supposed to hit. They weren't hitting simply because their best player, who always hits, wasn't hitting. So, like, nobody should have been like, oh, they're never going to hit this year. No, like, they have enough in their lineup to where they're supposed to hit. The guy named Aaron Judge, that guy, he wasn't hitting. So it was as simple as that. And it was relative. It was, it was never an awful lineup. It was just, it's based on expectation. Again, they were middle of the pack. And for the amount of names that they have in this lineup, that's very disappointing. But to do what they did and score, I'll say for a third time, 36 runs against a very good pitching staff in the Brewers, it's pretty fucking impressive. Now we'll see where the Brewers end up at the end of the year, but they've done a good job. They did a good job. And what I liked is that this was a series where you saw the number of Yankees that were slumping kind of get it going a little bit. Anthony Rizzo, Aaron Judge, Gleyber Torres, Austin Wells. But it was good to see the bats that we're going to rely on more start to come alive. Anthony Rizzo showed signs in Oakland with some home runs, and his power is starting to come back to him. That's such a big sigh of relief that in the last 6 games, Anthony Rizzo's got 6 extra base hits, 2 doubles, 4 homers, 7 RBIs. That's so important that he's the guy they brought in to be the lefty in the middle of the order that bops, right? He's supposed to be their power bat. What I liked is these weren't cheap shots. These were well hit, hard line drive, powerful hits from Anthony Rizzo this series. Part of my concern ever since the concussion, the Tatis incident, ever since then, he's become like this singles hitter, right? The rest of last season, he was that. And then really up until, again, the last week or so, he's been this singles hitter. So it was so refreshing to see Anthony Rizzo show us that, okay, I've got some power still left in here. So hopefully that's sustainable. Aaron Judge finally waking up. Him too. We talked about it last episode, how he was showing some life. He had some better swings. This series, it finally comes together for him. You could see the timing's back. Timing seems very good right now. He was hitting line drives, going the other way, turning on fastballs on the outer part of the plate. Aaron Judge, hitting like Aaron Judge, is what's going to take this offense to the next level. And you're seeing what the fuck this offense has potential to do when Aaron Judge is hot. Gleyber Torres is waking up a little bit, right? He's going the other way a little bit again. That was good to see, right? Showing some power. Home runs still not there, but a couple of doubles, 4 RBIs. And that's Gleyber Torres. Gleyber Torres at his best is a combination of power and contact. Right? When he's using that right center field approach, that's when he's driving the baseball, and he's using his lower body as that base to drive the ball into the gaps and pick up doubles and home runs. That's Gleyber Torres when he's at his best. A guy who can hit for contact, and the power comes naturally. So it was good to see those guys start hitting the ball. And in the fact that they were doing all of this, like the Yankees dropped a bunch of runs while Juan Soto was kind of quiet. He was kind of quiet. I mean, he had the home run in the first inning of the series. But other than that, he was pretty quiet. It wasn't Juan Soto carrying the Yankees to 15 runs. No, it was like I said, the guys who were struggling starting to wake up a little bit. And you got to credit Aaron Boone for, as much as we just criticized him for the Game 1 decision, shaking up the lineup. Going to the lineup card, scratching that Stanton Rizzo cleanup spot and putting Verdugo's name in there, and then moving Rizzo to 6th, right? I have been very hell-bent this season on keeping the lineup as is, keeping it as is. I don't like changing the lineup. I want it to be consistent. I want everybody to know their role, but it wasn't hitting. You needed some kind of shakeup. Sometimes that'll help you mentally. And maybe that helped Aaron Judge. You know, he saw some better pitchers this series. Maybe that's because he has Verdugo right behind him. You know, for a little bit there, Soto and Verdugo were the only two Yankees hitting. So I like the idea to move them a little closer together. So they're, you know, so Verdugo's got a chance to bring Soto in from first, second, or third base. I like lowering Rizzo down to 6. Maybe that helps him. You know? But yeah, I mean, right away, you saw the payoff where his first at-bat, Verdugo in the cleanup spot, a big 3-run bomb. So that helped. Even the catchers are producing, man. I think we touched on this last episode, but they're producing a little bit. Jose Trevino's hit this year. Like, it's gotten to a point where he's had a good year. You know, he got off to a little bit of a slow start, but he's hit. And his batting average is up to 280 on the year. The OPS is sitting at 739. He's hitting. Austin Wells may be coming around a little bit. In Austin Wells' last 6 games, he's batting .267 with a .476 on base. A double, 6 walks in there, and only 3 strikeouts. So that would be great. Man, if they can get that catching platoon and just get offense from one of those guys. Again, different level. You got Giancarlo Stanton continuing to be productive. For a little bit there, it looked like he was coming back down to earth, but he's a little streaky. That's who he is. He's going to have some bad at-bats. He's going to have awful swings. He's going to have at-bats where he's up there strictly guessing because that's who he is. But Stanton this year hasn't had a single streak yet where he's made me like, oh, fuck this contract. You know, because every year you start going to that. But he hasn't been egregiously cold yet. He's either been hot or neutral. You know, just quiet. But he's been productive. He's got a 774 OPS, 16 RBIs, 5 doubles, 6 homers, and he's doing that in 25 games. He's back to Giancarlo Stanton. That's not sucky. He's being just serviceable, productive. He's hitting left-handed pitching again, right? He has more hits against right-handed pitching. He has more hits against left-handed pitching. But surprisingly, the power is coming off righties. But he's hitting velocity. I think that's the biggest thing for me, is that Stanton's hitting velocity a little bit better than he had been in the last 2 seasons. But, you know, you got to credit him for losing a little bit of weight and putting on the right kind of muscle. And the Yankees seem to be handling it well. They're giving him DH days. They're giving him days off. They're always giving him DH days. Obviously they're telling him not to run too hard. In which, if that's going to keep him healthy, fucking do it. That's fine. And, you know, when he does sit, it's usually against right-handed pitching. So they're doing everything they can to get the most out of Giancarlo Stanton. And anything you get from Stanton this year is a bonus. I came into the year not expecting much. In fact, I said Stanton hits 230, has an OPS close to 800. That's a win. And that's exactly what you're getting right now from him. So I've had no problem with Stanton. He's been good. However, we're going to hand out game balls. Not game balls. We're not talking Knicks. We're going to tip our caps as soon as we return from break. Stanton's not getting one, but another power hitter is going to be getting this cap tip. And we'll start off with him when we return from break. Episode 673 of BD4. Stay with us.
If you're interested in our website, just go to www.bd4blog.com. You can subscribe to our blog on there right on the front page. Just like on the podcast, we cover Yankees, Knicks, and MMA. Also on our website are the links to the different platforms for the podcast. Thanks so much.
Welcome back to the show. Episode 673 of BD4. I appreciate you all tuning in. The Yanks break out in Milwaukee this weekend. Let's hand out game balls and getting his game balls. We did it again. Let's tip our caps and getting his first salute of the season, Anthony Rizzo. Anthony Rizzo this series hit 7 for 13, which is 538, with a 1725 OPS, 2 doubles, 2 home runs, 4 RBIs, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts, 6 runs scored, 15 total bases. And that was in 3 games this series in Milwaukee. He's always hit the Brewers, but because he had himself such an elite series, Anthony Rizzo's numbers on the year, productive. 277 with a 787 OPS. 15 RBIs in 29 games. It's good. He's always killed, like Anthony Rizzo. He's always been my favorite non-Yankee, even when he was with the Cubs. I always followed him closely. Has had such a solid career. You know, he's not a Hall of Famer, but he's just been so consistently productive every year. And this is the dude who battled cancer, man. And, you know, we know him from, you know, we're getting the later stages of his career. He was extremely productive. He was part of that World Series Chicago Cubs team. I mean, he's an icon in Chicago. And he's always killed the Brewers. That's been a thing over there. Like, they always talk about how Anthony Volpe used to kill the Brewers when he was with the Cubs. But it was good to see him hit his 300th home run today, man. Awesome. He's had such a good career, and I feel like it doesn't get talked about enough because, you know, everyone's talking about Giancarlo Stanton chasing 500 and Aaron Judge doing his thing, but Anthony Rizzo, man, has had himself a good career. So he's getting the my tip of the cap. Good for him. Let's go to the mound. Nope, that's not it. Hold on, let me fix this. Jesus Christ. Hold on. All right, here we are. Carlos Rodon. Tipping my cap to Carlos Rodon. Doing what he did this in game 2 of the series. To go 6 innings, 1 run, 2 hits, 8 strikeouts, a walk, 1 home run, 93 pitches thrown, and the win. Awesome to see. It's Carlos Rodon's 3rd salute of the season. So I'm tipping my cap to him for the 3rd time already this year. Had his wipeout slider going in this one. That slider was looking filthy. Low and away to the lefty. 5th inning, he was getting a lot of good swing and misses with that pitch. So the slider was his best pitch in this game. He was changeup heavy. It was nice to see him go to the changeup. He went to a little more later in the game, but he was going to it a lot, away to the righty. Didn't locate it very well, but he got some outs with it. Perkins grounded out with it. But he's getting more comfortable with his secondary pitches. He's much more comfortable with his cut fastball. Each start, you can see he's getting more comfy with that. High cutter is working right now. It's netting results. But yeah, he's finding a new formula. It's not just fastball slider. He's mixing in the 3 secondary or tertiary pitches, I guess. He's primarily high 4-seam, slider away, and then his secondary, he goes cutter, changeup, and he'll mix in an occasional curve. I think he dropped one in like the 2nd inning. He dropped one in there. But yeah, high 4-seamer, slider away, changeup away to the right-hander. Good to see. So Carlos Rodon, his 3rd salute of the season. And we go to the bullpen. Gonna go to Caleb Ferguson, man. You know, an inning and 2/3 this series. He appeared in 2 games, no runs, 2 strikeouts, a walk, no hits. 24 pitches in those 2 games. for a guy who's he struggled this year. He's gotten to a point every time I saw him warming up, I was dreading it. But he's figuring something out. He's hopefully coming around, and in his last 3 starts, he's not allowed to run. And this is a guy who has had a pretty decent career in a few seasons with the Dodgers, so you expect him to turn it around. So good for him. He gets his first salute of the year, tipping my cap to Caleb Ferguson. Now, when we get back, we're going to wrap this up. A little bit of a preview of this Baltimore series. So let's do that when we return. Studio 69 Productions is a podcast production agency created by Leo Rodriguez to allow content creators to market their podcast. It's an online platform that will market your podcast or any other project that you're working on. Get in touch with Leo Rodriguez from Studio 69 Productions. You can find Studio 69 Productions on Instagram at Studio69NJ. Studio 69 Productions, where dreams are heard and born. Welcome back to the show, episode 673 of the podcast. So, Baltimore is next. The Yankees have the Orioles coming up in what will be the most significant series of the early season so far. I am super excited for this series. Yankees O's is always fun. And this is, now that the Orioles are good, now that the Yankees are good again, it's going to be some good baseball. I'm expecting good baseball, and it's a 4-game set. It is a 4-game set. 2 teams who have young talent. Obviously, Baltimore sent down Jackson Holiday after he was struggling very much. But both teams with some young talent that they're going to display this series. And yeah, it's the first place team in the Yankees going up against the team right on their tail in the Orioles. So Yanks will be on the road in Camden Yards for these 4 games. It's not going to be easy. But you got guys like Aaron Judge and Gleyber Torres who were struggling, found it a little bit in Milwaukee, going into Camden Yards where they absolutely mash. Hopefully it's a good series for them. And your pitching matchups, you got Clark Schmidt going up against Gonzalez on Monday, tomorrow. Gonzalez has had an okay season, but Baltimore is winning on those days. Tuesday, it's Nestor Cortez versus Dean Kramer. Kramer got lit up by the Brewers, maybe a start or 2 ago. Other than that, he's had a pretty good season. And then it's Wednesday, you got Luis Heel going up against Corbin Burns. That's the 3rd game of the series. That's going to be tough. That might be a loss. Corbin Burns has been as advertised for them. That was a guy I wanted the Yankees to get. Unfortunately, they sat on their ass and did nothing. And then Thursday, it's Carlos Rodon for the Yankees. Baltimore has not yet announced who they will be throwing, but these are 2 competitive teams, 2 very good hitting teams, and both have good pitching. But I do know that Baltimore has struggled in the bullpen this year so far. That's been a weakness of theirs. But it's like, this is a series where, again, a split would keep the Yankees in first place. Obviously, I never like going 500 because I like to win. So I really would love for the Yankees to take 3 out of 4. 3 out of 4, I think, would make everybody happy. But we shall see. We shall see. And folks, I think that's it. We'll head to our final break, and we're going to wrap this up with our trivia. Episode 673. Stay with us. Be right back one final time.
Thanks for listening to BD4, where there is no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. We also do MMA, Yanks every series, Knicks every game, and MMA on occasion.
All right, let's wrap this thing up. Oh, fuck. Okay, so in this episode episode 673 of BD4, our NYY NYK MMA trivia question of the day. This series, the Yankees scored 15 plus runs in consecutive games for the 5th time in franchise history. What year was it the last time they did so? All right. So one final time, this series, the Yankees scored 15 plus runs in consecutive games for the 5th time in franchise history. What year was it the last time they did so? So let me know the answer wherever you can reach me. Folks, that's all we got for this one. I appreciate you all tuning in. Episode 673 is in the books, but I will see you in 674. We're talking Knicks Sixers Game 4. What a massive win for the Bockers earlier today. I cannot wait to get into that one. We're going to dissect that one big time. That should be out tomorrow night, maybe Tuesday morning. So hope you all enjoy this episode. I really appreciate everybody for stopping by. Not a big channel, not a good channel. It's a shitty podcast that nobody listens to, nobody really watches, but it has been growing a little bit lately, and we're coming up on 200 subscribers on YouTube. So if you're watching it over there, thank you. But everybody who's not yet subscribed, be sure to subscribe and leave a comment, critique me, compliment me, do whatever you want to do. I do appreciate it. And that's all we got here for episode 673 of the show. Thank you all, and I'll see you next time. This episode was brought to you by Anchor.
Hey there! If you stayed the entire way through, we thank you immensely for it. We hope you enjoyed this podcast and that you come back for the next episode real soon. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, download these episodes, and share them with your friends as well. BD4 is a 5-star podcast simply because of you, and we'd like to keep it that way. Have a wonderful day. Go Yankees, and go Knicks!